Hey guys, welcome back to GreyWolf TV. We are getting close to the end of Season 2 of The X-Files. This is the penultimate episode, episode 24. I'd forgotten there used to be so many episodes in the season on most 90s TV shows. We seem to have been on Season 2 forever. The last episode with the guy, physicist, whatever you want to call him, who was messing around with dark matter, and I don't know exactly what he created, but the government have him. Hardly a surprise. Right, let's carry on. Episode 24.
We can go to the motel.
I wouldn't want anyone to see us.
Is that your former student?
It's a small town.
Naughty, naughty. Uh-oh. Someone's over there.
I can just set the blanket down and...
Not yet.
Why not?
Because you have to catch me first.
Because she's leading you somewhere. Oh, you are not alone. Uh-oh. Sacrifice. Bye-bye.
George Kearns was a federal poultry inspector assigned to Dudley, Arkansas, home of Chaco Chicken. Here, a woman on the I-10 saw a strange fire in an adjacent field.
Yes, I read that report. She claims that she saw some kind of a foxfire spirit.
Well, most legends don't leave behind 12-foot burn marks. That photo was taken by state police in the field where the woman claims to have seen foxfire.
I'm not sure how much there is to investigate.
Well, Sheriff, a man is missing.
Well, we didn't find any evidence of criminal activity, and since no body turned up, we just went ahead and filed a missing persons report.
We just thought we
Why
wouldn't
didn't you
bother.
mention this witch's peg in your report?
Foxfire is nothing more than a ghost story about swamp gas. Listen, I don't know what y'all thinking, but George Kearns was passing through town ever since he got here 6 months ago.
So you're fairly certain that he left you for somebody else?
George left me a long time ago, right around the time I turned 40.
Your husband was about to file it with the Department of Agriculture the day before he disappeared.
I don't know anything about that.
Did your husband ever receive any threatening phone calls or anything unusual in the mail?
Well, sure, there were hang-ups. But I always thought it was one of his girlfriends.
Oh, you're here about George Kearns, right?
Well, there's a possibility that his disappearance may have something to do with a report he was about to file with the Department of Agriculture.
Let me show you something.
Yes, no. That's what's happening to him.
Oh, are you okay?
Whoa! Just gonna love that one. Awesome.
Well, we got 3 other inspectors here consistently give us top marks. Here. See for yourself.
I mean, it looks
Now, the only problem this plant ever had
legit,
was George.
clean.
I will not deny that a lot of chickens go through here every day, but we've always operated well within federal guidelines.
What happened to his lawsuit?
Most dismissed.
It is a repetitive
A few
conveyor
weeks
belt.
before he disappeared. The meat is cooked, then mixed with grain. The reason
You
why
feed
all
that back to the
proteins go
chickens?
waste. Well, you'll have to excuse me. I got a shift change.
We can talk this thing out. Why don't you give me the knife?
What the fuck? Dude?
You okay?
I can't even begin to imagine what brought this on.
Supposed to
What
talk
about you,
you
Dr.
down
Randolph?
first.
Do you have any ideas?
If you're done with me, I got work to do.
I don't usually treat anything more difficult than a hand injury, so I'm a little out of my depth when it comes to psychiatric matters.
You didn't find anything physically wrong with her?
Sent her to county for a brain scan and an EEG. Both came back normal, so I just assumed that her condition was stress-related.
Well, I think an autopsy on Paula Gray would clarify things.
I'm afraid I can't authorize that.
You think Paula had some kind of disease that made her act that way?
Well, that's what we're hoping a post-mortem will determine.
You know, when I came here after the war, Dudley was just a patch of dirt. I built that plant and put my whole family to work there. We made this town one of the biggest chicken processors in the nation.
Then you're aware of his recommendation to close down your plant?
You know, living a long life is a mixed blessing. I'm not ready to die just yet.
He's hard to read.
You go do your autopsy on Paula. I want to know what happened to my granddaughter.
Fair dues.
Absolutely. Victims of Creutzfeldt-Jakob suffer from progressive dementia, severe seizures.
Is it fatal?
This girl would have been dead in a matter of months.
Except that Paula Gray was no girl. This is her personnel file, Scully. Check it out. It says here that Paula Gray was born in 1948, which means that this woman, Chaco's granddaughter, was 47 years old.
That's not possible. Yeah, but I'm starting to think
they
they are.
Hereditary, but it's not communicable. That two unrelated people in the same small town will contract the same rare disease.
A lot more likely than Paula Gray being 3 years shy of her 50th birthday.
Creutzfeldt-Jakob is a prion disease, which means it could have been passed on to the chickens and in turn anyone who consumed them.
Talking about a needle in a haystack.
I'd like it dragged as soon as possible.
Why would you want to do that?
Because it's the FBI and he's telling you to.
We closed the spillway and the water level dropped. They came up with it almost immediately.
Did you find currents?
Maybe you better see for yourself.
Oh. That's a lot of human bones. They ain't no chickens.
The older bones show signs of decay and surface abrasion, just like you'd expect, but for some reason, all of them, even Kearns's, are smooth and buffed at the ends.
They found him, didn't they?
Well,
yeah.
We brought up
Sort
quite a
of.
few remains at the river this afternoon, and George's were among them.
Why do I get the feeling you're not here to check up on my neck?
They found bones in the river.
Oh, he does know.
I know, I heard. Did you also hear that Clayton Walsh came down with the symptoms? That's 4. It's getting worse with every day that goes by.
In the last 50 years, 87 people have disappeared near here. And judging from the forensic evidence, I'd say the same person or persons was responsible.
I want to put that chicken
Paula
down.
Gray may have contracted Creutzfeldt-Jakob by eating George Kearns.
And that could begin to explain her youthful appearance.
What are you talking about?
Some cannibalistic rituals are enacted with the belief that they can prolong life.
It's getting hard to hold on to the way things are going. 3 more have gotten sick since yesterday.
I lost my granddaughter in this, Jess. So don't tell me what we're up against.
I can't do this anymore, Mr. Chaco. I can't keep lying.
It's all right. Jess told me what happened. You have nothing to worry about. No.
I helped.
He was no good, Doris.
The whole fucking town's in on it.
He didn't fit in here.
But he was my husband.
That was a price you had to pay.
She's not stable.
She's one of us now. Part of our town.
Unless we do something about her, there won't be any town left to speak of.
No.
Mulder.
It's Doris Kearns. I'm in my house.
Tell
I
him.
need to speak with you right away.
Yeah.
Are you
tell
all
him.
right?
I'm afraid he'll kill me.
I think if you question this guy, you end up in the chopper
Mr.
with the rest of
Chaco.
them.
Is Mr. Chaco in?
I'll see if he's still awake.
I'm right, aren't I? Whoa, what did he discover while he was over there? 1944 in New Guinea.
What do you think you're doing?
Come on. Oh my god, that's where the heads are.
Mrs. Kearns is missing too, Mulder. I think someone's been here. The power's been cut and the back door was wide open when I got here. But her car is still out back.
Oh, is it him? That's what these ritual fires are about that that woman saw that led them to this case in the first place.
I warned you! I said not to touch her! Doris Kearns was one of us! Who's behind this? The outsiders we have to deal with, not one of our own.
We'll deal with them all.
Look at yourselves! You've turned this into an abomination!
It's got out of
Brought in the
control.
outsider who made us all sick.
Oh, that's that. Drive into the fucking field. Thank you.
hurt? You all right?
So there's a guy at the plant and the sheriff.
People stand away from your workstation.
Done. Closed.
Pending
Permanently.
further review, the Chaco processing plant has been closed by the USDA. What is known is that a transport plane carrying Walter Chaco was shot down in 1944 over New Guinea. The Jaulé, a tribe whose cannibalistic practices have long been suspected though never proven.
That's what he brought back.
Naval records also show that Walter Chaco was born in 1902, making him 93 years old at the time of his death. His remains have yet to be found.
Oh, perfect. I quite enjoyed that. That was quite good. And I kind of worked that one out. Okay, episode 24. That was the second to last episode for this season. That was thoroughly enjoyable. It wasn't an overcomplicated storyline once you got a little bit into it. But I was not initially making the connection of what they were doing with the ground up chickens and that disease and cannibalism. I wasn't piecing all that together until Mulder actually came up with the theory of it. What started to put me on the right path was when that girl, his granddaughter, who's 17 turned 47, then I started to think, well, there's no way, if that is accurate, and they're not going to let you confirm any of that because they burned all the records or the birth certificates, because this is pre-digital era, so you wouldn't be able to check it that way, that would make him 2 generations older than her. So even if you just added, never mind, say quarter of a century, 25 years, even if you just said 20, that's another 40 years on top of her supposedly being 47, so 87. So that's why I said he could be up to 100. Turns out he was 94. And the sheriff, it's always the fucking sheriff. These small towns. Put it this way, if I ever go to America on a road trip, I'm not stopping in any small towns because they seem to be lethal. No matter where you go, there's always some clandestine weird stuff going on, and usually the most prominent person in the town and the sheriff, whoever's the richest or whoever controls part of the town, which is usually it's a businessman who controls most of the income and the expenditure of the town, whether it's, you know, like farming or, you know, some sort of product. And obviously the sheriff would have to be in on it, because there's no way you could have that many people who are passing through this town just vanish and no one to say anything. That was weird. That was really weird, but it was thoroughly enjoyable. I don't really think we need to say much more than that. What was really unfortunate was the old guy who had obviously set all of this in motion by spending time with that tribe when he was shot down in his plane in the 40s, brought it back here. He'd obviously been doing this for a long time, had a certain way and a certain plan. And he said himself, you're turning on each other. If you're turning on each other, that's not how it works. Then if there's no rules, then who's next? Me? You? None of us are safe. And if none of us are safe, what are we keeping any of this quiet for? If you could be on the chopping block next. But in the end, their arrogance between the manager of the plant and the sheriff brought the whole thing come crashing down. Right, there you go. We will be back with the season finale, episode 25, in the next 2 or 3 days. I'm sure you know by now that we do 2 episodes a week. This will be available on Patreon, as always. Link will be in the description. And edited versions will be available on YouTube and Odyssey. Link will be down here at some point. And if you're not already subscribed and you just found this channel especially and you enjoy the X-Files, by all means I would appreciate it if you give the video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, because we've got plenty more to come. Alright guys, see you for the next one in the next few days. Take care.